In the Imperium, a feral world is defined as a planet whose population is composed of nomadic hunter and gatherers, or members of early agricultural societies, and who possess technology equivalent to Old Earth Stone Age, Bronze Age, or early Iron Age cultures. Feral worlds are populated by tribal peoples, largely living without the assistance of technology, or even agriculture in some cases, and the population is quite low as a result, ranging from 100,000 to 5 million people. The existence of humans on this planet may be due to an ancient failed human colonization project from the Dark Age of technology. Feral worlds and their people will have little direct political or economic interference from the Imperium, and will pay only the lowest grade of planetary tithes. Certain feral world populations may be aware of the Imperium's existence in some fashion, but are unlikely to know much more than something about a large group of distant people living among the stars. Most feral worlds are unsuitable for later imperial colonizations, and will maintain the title of a feral planet, either due to circumstances which drove the natives feral, or because the natives themselves actively resist new people settling in their land. The harsh conditions which feral world populations have adapted to make them ideal recruitment sources for regiments of the Astra Militarum and the chapters of the Space Marines, since they produce more men with experience in war. To the outsiders of the Imperium, feral worlds would appear backwards when compared to more technologically advanced worlds, and their people are indeed trapped in superstition and ignorance, but no less so than any of the denizens of any other imperial world. It is important to remember that the concept of progress is as unknown here as anywhere else in the Imperium. The barbaric nature on feral worlds is as pronounced as on any other planet, but here it is displayed as a harsh, personal brutality and dispensed with veneer of higher civilizations found elsewhere. Feral world natives are so backwards that they view weather as signs from the sky gods, and the remains of ancient devastated civilizations as relics from ancestors who touched godhood before hubris brought them low. This is no different than the hive laborers who work powerful machineries through roto-action and dogmatic chants, or reflexively make the sign of the Aquila before entering a hab room for the first time. Both classes of people see the world around them through a thick fog of superstition, not even knowing that there is more to know. To live in the Imperium is to live in ignorance, an awful but blissful experience compared to the horrible truths that Inquisitors know. Feral worlds are nonetheless very important to the Imperium as any of its planets, and each tithe men and material just like any other world. This means that even if the majority of the population is ignorant of other planets, there is often a ruling elite connected to the Imperium and governing the world for them. Populations on feral worlds are often kept in check by their faith in the Imperial Creed, and the Ecclesiarchy ensures that this is the first step when incorporating such a world into the Imperium. On many feral worlds, the local regions and beliefs have thus been supplemented by the faith in the Emperor, and it could be that he is known by a different name, such as the Skyfather, Master of Light, or Star-Lord, by the primitive people of the world. The imperial governors of a feral world that keep these practices in check almost always live apart from the natives, often living in a single city inhabited by outsiders, or taking residence in orbit on an imperial space station, only interfering in the world's affairs to keep psyker and mutant headcounts down. To a feral world imperial governor, religious heresy is always a concern, especially amongst warrior cults prone to infiltration by agents of Khorne. They must be constantly vigilant, and regular belief modifications must be enacted by agents of the Ecclesiarchy as necessary. Governors and permanent staff on such worlds are themselves kept under close scrutiny in an effort to avoid the phenomenon of going native, especially in situations where the inhabitants' belief systems have been manipulated into casting the governor as a star god. A major issue on feral worlds is the cultural shock associated with interactions with more technologically advanced outsiders. When removing a feral worlder from his planet and exposing him to such things as warp travel, it can be disconcerting and even result in madness and other permanent psychological disorders. When a feral worlder finally joins the Astra Militarum or the wider Imperium, he often retains his superstitious and tribal idiosyncrasies, which may prove to be a social hindrance, such as the obsession with bones of dead comrades, or mixing and regular application of noxious-smelling war paint. Other habits, such as manic distrust and aversion of psychic witchcraft, may be seen as useful and sensible in the Imperium. There is a near limitless variety of feral worlds within the Imperium, each different from the next, often mixing ancient cultures and technological levels in many different ways. For example, a feral world could be little more than an alien wilderness of volcanic tundra, where ignorant tribesmen bow down to effigies of the Emperor, whom they call the Father of Lightning. Here they hunt flying lizards across the deserts of ash and dust, using weapons of black volcanic glass, until the Skymen call them to serve beyond the world's edge, never to return. Other worlds could be covered with complex territories of nomadic tribes scattered across an endless swamp, who wear the bones and skins of great amphibians and constantly war with each other for survival. Some feral planets show the signs of previously advanced civilizations, long since blasted to ruin from war or natural catastrophe. Man might live in crude caves, nested in crash orbital towers that could predate the Imperium or even be of Xeno origin, using spear tips with fractal metal shavings to fend off beasts or mutants. Feral worlds are defined only by their limited level of technology, where populations have little choice but to live in a primitive state. Some feral worlders may have even learned to accept the appearance of void ships in their skies and mighty armored warriors in their cities, their people accepting their place in the universe, perhaps even scorning the Skymen for their feeble reliance on metal trickery when the test of a true man can only be measured in muscle and bone. Someday, a feral worlder might leave their planet, either taken as part of manpower ties or as part of an inquisitorial warband, but still retain the primal essence of their upbringing. One of the most famous feral worlds in all of the Imperium is the home world of the Primarch Leman Russ and the recruitment world of the Space Wolves chapter. It is said Fenris breeds cold souls. As a death world, Fenris is considered by most within the Imperium as a veritable hell. Virtually every living thing on the planet is a predator, or capable of fighting predators in its own right, and so nothing weak survives on Fenris for long. The few invaders to have set foot on Fenris have learned the hard way that there are more ways to die on Fenris than can easily be counted. As such, the people of Fenris live short, brutal lives, where survival is a constant struggle. The majority of Fenris's population lives a largely nomadic existence on many hundreds of islands dotting the world sea. During the season of fire, most islands sink beneath the waves, even as new ones rise up, forcing the tribes to remain almost constantly on the move, taking to the waves each great year to find a new place to live. Inevitably, the tribes engage in warfare over the ever-limited number of habitable islands and much coveted resources. A small portion of the native population lives on the lowlands of Azahheim's continent, the only permanent landmass on the planet. Most island tribesmen view the lowlanders as soft, but this is far from the truth. The many predators native to Azahheim ensures that life in the lowlands is in many ways just as dangerous. Though their numbers are fewer, the lowlanders are still chosen by the Space Wolves wolf priests from time to time to become aspirants to the chapter. A very small portion of the populace lives on the Isles of the Iron Masters, beneath the Fire Mountain. Alone amongst the natives of Fenris, the Iron Masters possess crude technology, metal steamships, stone buildings, and furnaces of molten metal. As a part of an ancient pact with Leman Russ, the Iron Masters remain secluded amongst themselves, trading only occasionally with those Icelanders brave enough to make the journey to their island. Food, furs, and other materials are traded to the Iron Masters in exchange for crude iron tools and weapons much valued by the islanders. Virtually the only stable landmass in the great oceans of Fenris, the Isles of the Iron Masters house a small Vox-based communication post to contact the Space Wolves. Of the resources available on Fenris, the most valuable is the land itself. No one knows how much the land will change with a new turning of the great year. Sometimes old islands survive the changing seasons, and good fortune may preserve a tribe's territory intact for many great years. But it is more likely that the land will be broken and destroyed, submerged beneath the oceans by the vast upheavals of Fenris's crust. When this happens, there will be vicious wars between tribes, and only those who succeed in finding new land and establishing themselves will survive. Once the time of fire and water has passed, The Fenrisians must settle the newly formed land quickly, for soon their supplies will run out. If they can find no new land, they must resume their wars for the territories of other tribes. So it is that the life of a Fenrisian is one of constant seaborne migration and warfare. The people of Fenris speak their own distinct dialect of Low Gothic, called Junk, which is very similar to the ancient Scandinavian languages of Terra, and represents the culture of the world's original colonists. Making their living on a chain of glaciers stretching across Fenrisian's oceans, the glacier nomads live a humble existence, ever fraught with danger. Because of this, the glacier tribesmen are known to possess superior senses of any of the other tribes of Fenris. Even once recruited into the Space Wolves, battle brothers drawn from the glacier nomads possess a far sharper sense than even the heightened hearing and smelling of their comrades. Because of these skills, most warriors drawn from the glacier tribes invariably become members of the Wolf Scout Pack, the better to utilize their heightened skills to the benefit of the chapter. One of the more well-known glaciers is the Guttricks Glacier, a stretch of ice from which Brother Starcat was recruited to the chapter. Perhaps the most numerous of the many tribes of Fenris are the seafaring islanders. The great oceans of Fenris cover most of the planet's surface and are dotted with thousands of volcanic islands which rise and fall with the changing of the seasons. Most of these islands do not last more than a few seasons before they are reclaimed by the churning seas, and even when they do, the islands suffer frequent and violent earthquakes and floods. As a result, the Fenrisian islanders rarely build structures of any permanence. Most of their dwellings are crude bone huts covered in crude animal hide. Dragon ships are crafted from the ribs and bones of Fenrisian sea beasts, or occasionally from the spare woodlands that occasionally grow on the longer-lasting islands. Cured hide is stretched across the skeleton structure of these ships to form a watertight outer skin. Though humble, the islanders' dragon ships are light, fast, and easy to build, allowing even the humblest of tribes to field them in their dozens. Though extremely dangerous, the island tribes make a living from hunting the great beast of Fenrisian seas, creatures that often greatly outweigh and outsize the largest of the dragon ships. Yet to slay even one such beast is a rich bounty, providing skin, scales, fat, meat, and bones that can last a tribe for solar months. The hide is cured and turned into clothing, ship hulls, and shelters, while the meat is salted and prepared. Such hunts are necessary practices, for with the turn of every season comes the chance that a tribe's home island will be torn asunder and sink beneath the wave, sending the entire tribe out onto the sea in a mass exodus. The tribe must find a new home if they are to survive, for no matter how skilled the sailors, no tribe can survive on the sea alone for any length of time. Yet any new land is likely to be already inhabited, or at the very least will be claimed by multiple tribes who will have to fight for dominance and ownership. It is during these clashes between tribes that the wolf priest will watch most attentively, ever ready to swoop in and claim the most skilled or promising of the combatants, whether standing or fallen. Among the better known of the present era island tribes are the Thunderfist, Grimskulls, Ironbloods, Tidehounds, Sea Devils, and Icefang tribes, while one of the better known tribes during the Horus Heresy era was the Ascomanni. Whether the Ascomanni tribes still exist in one form or another is unknown. A small number of Fenrisian tribes make their homes in the lower slopes of Azaheim mountain range and across lowland regions bordering the Sea of Fenris. The many hostile beasts that make the Azaheim range their home make their tribes and their settlements few in number by necessity and attrition. It is all too common for a band of ice trolls or a rampaging herd of Zanyeti to wipe a tribe from existence. The culture of Fenris is considered crude, brutal, and barbaric by many within the Imperium. Yet for all its savagery, the people of Fenris are loyal and fierce, the perfect recruits for Space Marine chapters. Their culture has influenced every aspect of the Space Wolves organization and belief since the founding of the Space Wolves Legion during the Great Crusade. The basic social structure of Fenris is the tribe, which is led by a Jarl. The warriors of each tribe are known as Wolf Brothers or Shield Brothers. The history of each tribe is recorded in oral song and poems. Every male of the tribe is taught to fight, to hunt for food and supplies,
and to defend the tribe against its enemies. The women are no less fierce and hardy, as Fenris suffers no weakness. In the spring, various tribes meet at gatherings known as moots to trade and exchange stories and news. Technology is crude. Iron weapons and tools are rare and highly valuable. The island tribes rely on their vessels of bone and hide, and every settlement, no matter how small, will feature a longhouse or hall where the Jarl holds court. To the natives of Fenris, the Emperor is known as the Allfather, the Father of Rust, the protector of mankind. Runic totems and talismans ward away the evil spirits of Gore, Slanesh, and Horus. The peaks of Azaheim are known as the Walls of the Gods, and the Space Wolves are myth and legend, known as the Sky Warriors, who appear amongst the tribes to take the honored slain.
And those were 40 facts on the Feral world. With that said, I will talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.